Hello, this is Mike from Dimensional Walking, and I'm here today with our famous cat, Pow Pow, watching over us, and our dog is on the floor right now, Rocky, but Pow Pow will be here and make sure I don't say anything wrong. She's recording this. Just kidding. So today we're going to do something that has always been on my mind for a very long time, and I just wanted to share it at this point. The title of this video is going to be Reptilian Beings and Human Wars. Okay, so I'm going to start this out is tell you about a friend of mine, an old friend of mine that was part of a black ops group for the United States government that would travel around the world and create chaos and stop chaos. He once told me that at any given time, there's 100 skirmishes or small wars, as they call them, around the world. Most of these wars and skirmishes, the regular normal person walking the streets in America would know about. It's not publicized. They're kept hidden for the most part. Some of them, he said, he would include assassinations. He would include, drug wars between drug lords, any type of contact, any type of conflict that would be in countries where they were involved. There's maybe black ops from other countries like England, France, and there's quite a few of them. Russia has them that go around and just cause havoc. Okay. So, of course, now we're in a large conflict. Obviously it's a war. I mean, it's not a world war yet, but it's a local, regional war, and it's pretty horrific. Let's face it. So this terrorism, because wars are terrorism, conflicts are terrorism, affect a lot of people. Not only do they affect the people that are, right there, getting bombed or getting killed or shot or blown up or whatever, it affects people farther away. It affects people in the next country over. It affects people, around the other side of the world, because we live in an age where we have weapons that within hours could basically destroy the world. Going back many years ago, that wasn't the case. But now it is. So it is an issue, a bigger issue, in the degree of terrorism that a small war creates for the rest of the world is pretty amazing, especially if it's between people, between governments that have horrific weapons, which obviously China, Russia, United States, the UK, Israel, to name a few. There's a few other ones too. India, Pakistan, they all have nuclear weapons that, of course, are very dangerous and cause a deal of terror in the hearts of everybody. So they create this, and what I want to say is about the terror, they create this negative energy that is given off. When you feel fear, there's this energy that's giving off, okay? And so guess who loves that energy? Guess who loves to absorb and take in that energy? Reptilian beings. Yes, reptilian beings. So let's go back for a minute to my buddy, the Black Ops guy, okay? He would have a bag that was always packed next to him, next to his bed. It had everything in it: weapons, clothes, little packs of food, things like, just so he could survive, basically. And he would be on just a minute's notice. They would call him. He said he has special text equipment that could be, globally text, that he had to be at a certain place at a certain time. And typically it would be an airport close to where he lived. They knew exactly how to get him there. He had to live within about 10 minutes max of this airport. And there was a small airport that I'd bring in like a small Learjet or something, and and he'd jump in there and they'd fly him anywhere in the world. And he would, do his clandestine missions that way. So he said over the years, after doing this for many years, and I have to tell you, I could probably do several videos on just him alone. He's a pretty amazing guy. But he said one of the things he did notice is that kind of in the edges, let's just say, of what's happening, the action, he would notice these beings. And he said they look reptilian to him. They look big. Most of them were big. Some of them weren't, but there were entities that, obviously had arms and legs and stood up and walked around, and they would be just kind of watching, sitting there, standing there, whatever. Didn't seem to be getting involved directly, but kind of indirectly involved. And for many years, he didn't really make much of it. His mission was there. He had to do his mission, and he was not overly concerned. But one day he did ask one of his peers and said, "Hey, what are these creatures that, occasionally I've seen?" And he said, "Oh, they're always around. Sometimes they get a little too damn close, though. It really, really bothers us. We don't normally bother as long as they don't start interfering. We just kind of leave them alone, and they don't seem to bother us or bother our mission at all." And it was weird about that conversation that I just shared with you. He didn't blink an eyelash when he told me. He was just as serious as he always is when he tells me this stuff. He just didn't think that, he knew I was into a lot of stuff, right? But he just, I guess I would have thought he was, waiting for my head to spin off or something when he told me this, so. But, it's always been my beliefs from many, many years ago that there are these groups of reptilians and maybe other groups of aliens that are here basically to harvest our negative energy, or our low levels of energy, or low energy, as I call it, not high energy, but low energy. And that's what we generate when we are under fear and, terrorized, etc. Sometimes just before we die, we give off a tremendous amount of this fear. So anyways, I believe very strongly that one of the reasons we're visited by reptilians is for this energy that we give off, this very negative energy. I believe this for years, and I call it this powerful emotional energy. And the more volatile it is, the more violent it is. This is the maximum food source for these types of beings. So the more conflict there is around the world, and the bigger the conflict is, the happier these beings are. Now, I also believe it's very possible, I have no proof of this exactly, that they have the ability to control humans, control leaders, to do their bidding. And I really believe that. It's sort of like they're like viruses. They want to create a lot of virus, and they want to infect a lot of people, but they're never going to kill off the host. They want to keep enough of they'll kill some of them off. Some of them do die. And that's the same thing in war. People do die, but they keep enough people in this fear position, and they don't kill all the people off, because once you kill all the people off, then it's pretty much suicide for them, because they need those people to create this type of energy, this low level negative energy that they can absorb and actually live on. And that's probably one of the reasons there has never been peace on earth. And it's probably another reason why there will never be peace on earth. And that's probably another reason why the nuclear option will never be used. I don't believe they will allow it, because that will probably destroy, especially if you start flying around thousands of nuclear weapons around the earth. It would pretty much destroy all the humans, and that they don't want that at all. So I don't think it'll ever get down to that. I really, really don't. Maybe a small blast here or blast there, but not enough to kill, more than 1 million or 2 million people, but the rest of the earth would be fine. But don't expect this to get out of control with the nuclear. I really don't believe it. They've kept, since we dropped those bombs on Japan, there has been no other nuclear war anywhere that I'm aware of. And I think it's one of those things you cannot hide. You know, you may be able to test weapons underground, but you could not hide above ground test or explosion. So anyways, with all that said, those are my feelings. So I just want to say, God bless Ukraine. I really feel for them. And please subscribe if you like us. We have a lot more things to tell the world. Our site, of course, on YouTube is Dimensional Walking, a Paranormal Journey. Please subscribe. We need our subscriptions. And that's about it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.